Welcome to Get the Facts, a program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Anthony Campbell, and today we're looking at microinsurance. There's been a lot of talk about microinsurance these days. You know, it's an initiative that gives more people access to insurance coverage. And my guest is Vice President, Insurance Association of Jamaica, Rosemary Henry. Ms. Henry, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
What is microinsurance?
In our society today, a lot of persons are unable to obtain the traditional insurance. And this is where microinsurance comes in. It really is insurance for low-income earners, and it provides them the same value that it does for the traditional insurers, where it protects them against the risks that they face. Simple things like illness, death of a family member, especially the one who is the breadwinner, and also against crop failure, and that comes from whether it is too much rain or drought.
All right, so we're talking about low-income earners. Like what's the level of income we're talking about here?
Minimum wage.
Minimum
Usually,
wage.
yeah, that defines the low-income earners.
All right, so how did we get to this point? How did we do a survey? How did we know that we need to provide this? Because the insurance companies, don't they now provide insurance that most people can afford?
One of the things we realized when a study was done by Access to Insurance out of Switzerland, they were able to determine that at least 1.6 million Jamaicans did not have insurance coverage, and this did not include their dependents. When they added that to it, we came pretty close to 2 million as well. So while the insurers were providing the traditional insurance, the problem was the affordability.
Okay, what are we calling traditional insurance?
And when we talk about traditional insurance, we're really looking at those who are in the market right now. When you look at what it costs to be insured, and this vary across your age band, and so the older you get is the more that it costs, you'll realize that not everybody can afford even the basic of insurance. Right. And that include our health insurance as well.
Right, so we're going to be covering persons minimum wage, so like farmers and so as well.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Because the farmers, we refer to them as the underserved market, because persons will be looking to say their incomes are not stable. They cannot afford what I'm calling the traditional insurance.
Apart from the cost, how different will it be from what you're calling traditional insurance?
It's going to be a lot simpler, a lot easier to obtain, and easy enough for persons to read and understand. So you won't need a whole lot of education to be able to read your insurance policy and know what it means. It's going to be in simple terms. You're going to be able to walk in your supermarket, your mom and dad store, and be able to get your insurance coverage on your phone as well too.
Right, so it won't be that long 6, 7, 14-page document.
No, not at all, not at all.
All right, okay. So how as it relates to claim, how are the person going to be able to claim? Is it going to be the same process, going to the office and sign up and so on? Like you can get it in supermarket, it would be the same thing when people are claiming? Would it be as easy?
It will be as easy. That's one thing that microinsurance aim to do, make the claim process very, very easy. So it will be a lot simpler. And also you will find that the number of days that it takes to get the claim, because it's so simple, would actually reduce significantly. So you will have between 2 to 5 days in order to get a claim. And you find that companies are actually doing that now, or preparing to do that as soon as the legislation is in place.
Right. So we're going to talk about legislation soon. But break it down for me. You're going to have individual insurance. Probably you'll have people with small companies. Tell me about that.
Yes, you will. Everything that is done in the traditional market can be done in microinsurance and more. In the traditional market in Jamaica, you're not able to combine a general company and a life company. Under microinsurance, you can actually have a company that's a combination of both, and that means you have a whole new world as it relates to insurance product, because you can give something that covers your house at the same time, provide you with health coverage or life coverage all in one package, and that reduces the cost of it.
All right.
So it will be a wide range of products. There will be nothing that is in the traditional that you won't be able to get in the microinsurance and more.
Can you tell us about some of those coverage?
So you will have health coverage, and you'll find that you do have some of our insurers now who are actually providing microinsurance products. problem is they are doing it under the traditional, so they are constrained with how they distribute it, and therefore it means that the cost to them to actually put these products out there are more. But you have health products, you have life coverage products, and they are 1-year renewable term products for the most part, because that's another feature of microinsurance. They are not long-term products, they are short-term products, right? But you have parametrics product which cover the farmers. We have companies out there, general companies that are actually doing that. So if you lose your crop because we've had a hurricane or we've had a drought, they can actually determine what your payout will be for that as well too. So that safeguard our farmers who are very vulnerable for these kind of happenings.
You talked about small businesses as well, like hairdressers and...
Oh, yes, they definitely will be able to opt in. And in addition to the microinsurance legislation, we are also looking at the group side of it, which will allow for persons to be covered under a group plan. So that amendment will also be done to the insurance legislation. And once again, it increases affordability and it makes it easier for persons to be able to get insurance.
Yes, when you talk about group plan, you're like a group of hairdressers, a group of
exactly.
farmers,
So their association, right, can actually be the policy holders for those coverages, and they then subscribe and enroll under those plans.
Right. So where are you now with this initiative?
We're actually just really awaiting the legislation to be put in force. That's where we are. The industry have worked with the FSC to get us to a place where not only are our traditional insurers in the market providing these products as best as they can, we're also ready to actually roll out more products once the legislation comes in place.
Okay, let's take a quick break now. We pick up with the microinsurance bill that will facilitate the implementation of this policy. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Vice President of the Insurance Association of Jamaica, Rosemary Henry. And before we continue any further, let's hear what the Minister of Finance and the Public Service has to say about the microinsurance bill and the importance of such a policy. He was speaking at a recent conference on inclusive insurance.
The Microinsurance Act, which is under drafting as we speak, or is being drafted as we speak, will obviously define microinsurance, define a microinsurance product, will deal with the registration of microinsurance managers, that you have to be registered to provide a microinsurance service. It will also deal with fit and proper requirements for those engaged in providing microinsurance services. It will require that microinsurance products have certain minimum terms and minimum contract requirements for all microinsurance products. It will, very importantly, require that microinsurance products are, well, it will define the term of microinsurance products, and the term will be for a maximum of 1 year, though obviously it can be renewed. So you can't lock somebody in, indefinitely to be paying premium. They will have the opportunity to renew on an annual basis. And that is a key, that will be a key need to service this market properly. The legislation will require that microinsurance claims are resolved and paid out within 5 days, so that the experience of the insured is such that the microinsurance industry is seen as one that adds value. Long before the end of this fiscal year, we will table the microinsurance amendments or the microinsurance bill in the House of Parliament. It is therefore my expectation that microinsurance will be a reality in Jamaica at some point in the next fiscal year.
So the policy will be ready within the next fiscal year, right? Minister spoke about fit and proper persons, service providers, claims being processed within 5 days, registration of the providers, and the 1 year term. Talk to us about those aspects of the policy that Minister spoke to.
Okay, and yes, those are going to be all features of what they have, what will be the microinsurance policy that the companies will put out. There is always the assumption that person will want to renew that term. And so, yes, the policies will carry a clause in there which will allow for them to easily renew. And easily renew will mean that you simply do that by paying your premium, continuing to pay your premium, unless the insurer says this product is off the market. And even if they're going to do that, there will be a clause in there that will require them to give you time as well to do so. Yes, our companies are prepared to pay claim within the 5 days. We actually have a company now that does that in 2 days because they are very focused on that market as well too. And the fit and proper requirement, they are what is needed now. And so we are, the market, the industry expected that we are serving persons in the financial sector. We will still need to make sure that our individuals are fit and proper. So all in all,
Individuals who are providing,
yes.
meaning what?
Meaning that there are some minimum requirement that the Financial Services Commission has for persons to be considered fit and proper. They look at your criminal record. They look at how you manage your business. They look at just how you operate within the space. Or if you are in a business and have been in the sector for a while, were there anything that you did that would have been disruptive or not be beneficial to the market itself, the company, the policyholders as well too. So there are a list of things that they take a look at when they're determining who is fit and proper.
Right. You talked about registration. Where are you with that? Are you ready?
We are ready.
Yes.
We are ready once that legislation comes in play. And remember that these are done in consultation with the FSC and the industry. And so we have an idea of what it is that they're going to require of us. And so every company has begun to prepare for that because they do see this as a viable market.
Right. So you say you're just waiting on the act. So you are already developing this policy.
As we speak,
Yes.
there are policies in the market that are considered to be microinsurance policies, and they were developed specifically with those target markets, the low income and the underserved in mind. And so we have several companies. We have probably about 4 or so companies who are actually operating in that space, and they continue to produce it. So the bill is a welcome addition for them as it relates to legislation.
How will the bill make your process better?
It will make it easier. It will actually make it even more affordable for the policyholder at the end of the day, because you now have the ability to utilize other channels that will cost you less, rather than your field force, which you have to pay a higher commission to than you would have had to when you go to a different channel. So it is things like those. You are able to set the policy up in such a way that when it gets to the individual, it is simpler, and therefore it takes less out of you operational-wise to not only manage but to also develop.
Minister says this will come on stream by 2023. Yes? Do you have an idea of what the lowest level of policy will cost?
And it's hard to determine that because you also have to look at the benefits that you will provide. And the benefits are tied to the needs of that market.
Yes.
So it's all a research, so it can vary. As I indicated, the FSC is recommending that it be tied to the minimum wage. And therefore, you know that a lot of your policies are going to fall within that range, right? They'll be close to what a minimum wage is for anybody, and it will be slightly, you can have policies that are slightly above, depending on the market you're targeting, because you'll have some person who will afford a little bit more, even though the income is still.
Talk to us about the benefits, because we didn't talk so much about the benefits.
You will be able to, they'll be able to get health benefits, and if they do it under group coverage, then that benefits will also cost you less because you're putting the risks of more than one person's together. Right, but then there will be the health, there will be the coverage for your life, there will be policies geared towards your children, and you can be able to cover them for actually less. So it's hospital, it's health, it's property, it's personal accident. As I indicated before, it's crops. The idea is that this kind of coverage meets the the policyholder, the individual, where their needs are. And so you take a look at that in developing the policies.
What about the small business person who is into haberdashery and so on?
They will be able to get coverage, not just for themselves only, but also for their employers as well, to their employees as well.
Okay, good. So what happens now? What happens now? So you're waiting on minister. What is happening now?
Where the industry, the companies in the industries are continuing as they are now, meaning that they sell their traditional policies, but they also, those who have gone into the market, in the microinsurance market space, is ramping up their promo, letting persons know that, hey, this is a market that we're interested in, as well as we're getting ready to make sure that the minute he says the bill is passed, you can go ahead. We're ready to put those applications into the FSC. We're ready to roll out big promos about what products we have to offer and truly go to the market with what is there.
Right. What does a minimum wage person who earns a minimum wage person in those categories? What do they need to do now, or would you tell them they need to do now? Start saving up their money. What are you going to require of them?
One of the things that we anticipate as well too is that there will be changes to the KYC requirements. So there will be, and that's know your customer requirement
Yes.
under the anti-money laundering
Yes.
legislation. And we are expecting that it will be basic requirements for them. And so it'll be things like make sure you have an ID, because we need to know that you are who you say you are, right? Because we know that these persons can't really save all of their money to just put aside for insurance product. The products will be there ready to meet you where your income point is. And so a lot of savings is not really required. That's not what it's going to be based on. But just to read up, get the facts, listen to the information that are getting out there, and get ready to be able to really open your arms out to these products, because they will be there and they'll be good for the market.
Thank you so very much. This has been Get the Facts, and our guest was Vice President of the Insurance Association of Jamaica, Rosemary Henry, and we were discussing microinsurance. Get ready. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Anthros Campbell. Take good care.